it's Wednesday in the woodshed, and I thought I would do something a little different just to change things up, because one can only hear so many guitar solos before their ears implode. So I just thought I would share my journey on the six-string beauty, the guitar, and just different things I've learned along the way. I'm not going to make it a long video. There's so much I could cover. But yeah, I guess I'll just do a walkthrough of where I got the bug and up to today, I guess, or as much as I can. Bit of a sad day. I did a beard fade. The beard was getting out of hand, so it's a bit, I don't know what the hell I did, but anyways, it'll grow back. I think it looks okay. I'm not a barber. But so I guess trying to get the best coverage here of the camera. So I guess I've been playing, let's see, 22 years? No, more than that. 25 years, I guess, more or less. And I remember where I got the bug, definitely. I don't know any of the actual accoutrements of it, but from what I remember, I was in grade 10, and it was my grandma and grandpa's 50th wedding anniversary in Lower Hauser in the Kootenays. And my uncle's side of the family, my Uncle Brian, he was from Alberta. Very musical family. He married into a family of Mormons, and they're very musical. And there was a, for the 50th wedding anniversary, my cousin, Darren, was playing in a band called the Kunkel Brothers, and they were quite well known in the lower parts of Alberta. And I've always liked music. I always loved music. I remember my first album that I loved was Kiss Double Platinum. And I remember seeing the movie and just being enthralled by that, you know. Just the grandiose, the bigger than life kind of feel to it. And so then I also had Commander Cody and his Airmen was another band that I had on vinyl. And right around that time was the Queen album with the robot on the front that I loved. I can't remember the album. Way back when, like 6 years old, 7 years old. But anyways, fast forward, you know, to 1997, 98. No, not even that. What am I doing? 1987, oh my gosh. 87, 88. And the Kunkel Brothers were playing at my grandma and grandpa's 50th wedding anniversary. And I was off in the other part of this big, huge hall. And there was a bowling alley. I was playing a game of bowling with my cousin Derek. And we had already started doing music stuff, I guess, with the keyboard that my grandma had. And so anyways, all of a sudden I hear, you know, the intro to Van Halen Eruption. They were doing sound checks. I dropped my bowling ball and just ran to where they were doing the sound check, to the auditorium where there was going to be a dance, and he was doing the Eruption, you know, You know, that kind of thing. With the flanger on, or with the phaser, right? So that kind of thing, or whatever it is, and I never heard that before, and it was like I at that moment I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but one day I'm gonna be able to do that. I have to do that. So, yeah, I grade 11. So that was at the end of grade 10. I was going to grade 11, I believe. I believe that's about right. And during that time, I was totally into like Guitar for the Practicing Musician, and remember all those guitar magazines that had George Lynch and Vito Bratta on the front, with their cool ass guitars and everything, right? So, yeah, I bought my first guitar in grade 11, electric guitar. It was a Yamaha RX 112. Super Strat kind of style, no locking trem or anything like that. And during that time I started to play guitar, like practicing, listening to stuff, and just reading the tabs, and okay, so he's tapping here, and how does he do that, and one of the cool things is, I remember the first day I practiced so hard on tapping, right? And I just couldn't get it, it's coordination and just note separation and stuff like that, and just like... and I remember the first day I got it, and it just blew me away, right? So, yeah, I was totally just... That was one of the things that totally blew me away. Joe Satriani, huge influence on me. Got the Surfing with the Alien tape. Started listening to that, and just loved that whole album. It was just like pan it left, pan it right, who cares what it sounds like, if it sounds natural, unnatural, and that's where, you got the... that kind of thing, right? So, so I just basically self-taught, learned the tricks along the way, and all-time favorite guitar song ever, top of my list, Joe Satriani, Flying in a Blue Dream. Just that song totally takes me places. I'm not even here when I listen to it, and well, I am, but I'm flying in a blue dream. Duh. So where was I? Yeah. So, and during that time, I was going to youth group, and my friend, my youth leader, Corey, he was in a band growing up, and he was my youth leader, and then we started a band, right? And and I was just learning, right? And his wife said, just learn the scales, right? So, it was just like... and just being able to, play it up to speed. So, and I was totally fascinated with alternate picking. And later on, I discovered John Petrucci. He's got the... that kind of thing, and Paul Gilbert. So all those guys just really influenced me. I just love that whole era where it was just like, who gives a toss what, if it's like Yngwie Malmsteen says, less is more. Impossible. More is more, right? So I just love that whole shred thing, and that's basically where I cut my teeth. That kind of style, and you obviously hear it, but yeah, you got the blues. But there's always that, see how fast you can play it or whatever, right? So anyways, back to the story with Corey and the band. So yeah, we started learning songs, like DeGarmo and Key, Rock Solid. So I was 5 years in that band, and just learned a lot because I had to play the solos that they were doing on the albums, and of course I had my own solos that I came up with too for our own original songs. See if I can remember it. We had a song called "What Are You Gonna Do?" That's it. That's the one, man. And then we had another one, and that's a riff I came up with. It was actually based off of kind of a song by Bloodgood, kind of the same feel, right? As I can't remember the song right now, but yeah. Okay, so guitar influences. Let's knock them off. Joe Satriani, Paul Gilbert, or favorite guitarist, I guess we could say. Paul Jackson of Bloodgood, awesome guy. I actually had the pleasure of meeting him. Super humble guy, great guy, and I can say he's my friend too. Had a great talk with him, short talk when I went to the Bloodgood release party, which was awesome. Yeah. And he's hilarious, very funny guy too. Let's see, Michael Sweet, Bruce Swift from Sacred Warrior, Michael Cutting and Jamie Kramer from Holy Soldier, Steve Stevens, right? Let's see if I can do this. It's kind of, used to be able to do it better, but that's Rebel Yell, right? Where he has that. Steve Stevens, Steve Vai, John Petrucci, all those guys, and there's just a handful of others along the way, but so yeah, I was in that band for 5 years, got married, didn't do much for music. After that, life got in the way, and yeah, but never stopped playing. I had so many guitars. I'm a member of the RG. A member on Facebook, RG Fans. I had an RG 570, an RG 550 that are worth a hell of a lot more than I bought them for today. But I pawned them. Just stupid, man. I traded in one on a freaking Ovation acoustic. Just atrocious. How dare I? That's just really bad. Yeah, I had a whole handful of guitars in Calgary. But I'm going to do a video of that some other time. But so, yeah. I guess when I was at Wagner Hills, after I left Wagner Hills, I was with a friend, Richard. He and I had this vision for a band, and he totally got me into metal more than I had before, more than I had been before. And, you know, I never played like... that kind of stuff, right? It was always kind of like straight stuff, right? You know, but then I got into... stuff like that. Yeah, and I got into like the... that kind of stuff, you know, just... and I remember after practicing, I would have tennis elbow because I just wasn't used to doing that. And for the last 4 years, I've actually tuned down a whole step. So this is actually E here. I think I'm out of tune. No. Oops. Anyways, so yeah. So it's like... it's just heavier, right? You know, To Hell with the Devil sounds just... you know, just sounds way heavier. I love it. So yeah, I'm more metal now than I was before, probably. But anyways, I'm probably rambling on. Yeah, rambling on, metal on. So yeah, I just thought I'd share a little bit of where I'm at with my guitar and stuff. There's always stuff to learn. Like I was up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I couldn't sleep, and then I came across a tutorial for The Best of Time Solo by John Petrucci. And you know, and then it's just like okay, I had to learn, I had to work on my sweeping, right? You know. So yeah, so I was up at 6 this morning practicing, which is crazy. I should have been sleeping, but anyways, time well spent. One of the biggest things I learned, and I posted on Facebook today, is that, you know, I have some gear. I have some good pickups in some of my guitars, and I have a Line 6 Pod HD. I've had numerous kinds of gear over the years, but the thing was, maybe I got suckered into the marketing. You know, if you have this guitar, you know, you can play like Paul Gilbert or whatever, or you sound like Paul Gilbert or Joe Satriani. Never. Never will I sound like Joe Satriani, and Joe Satriani will never sound like me. I can borrow techniques from him. I can, you know, basically all guitarists there's no originals. We're all copies of somebody else, or we're all a conglomeration of our influences, you know. So, Alex Skolnick, that name just popped into my head. Awesome guitarist, just sick. And Michael Sweet's good too. And he can sing like the cat's meow. So yeah, just really have loved the guitar, and just yeah, learning it. I mean, this stupid thing sits over in the corner and just gives you a big, big F you, like, you'll never master me, you know, and that's true. Randy Rhoads, even up to the day he died, was taking lessons in every city they went to when he was on tour with Ozzy Osbourne. So, anyways, that is it for Wednesday in the Woodshed. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of the week. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble on. And take care.